Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Show on Bootsman Radio. My name is Joseph Thomas. First on our breakfast show this morning is a newspaper review. On the newspaper review, we begin with some of the major stories making headlines across Nigeria and the world. We started the Vanguard newspaper. Today being the 22nd of April 2025, on the Vanguard newspaper this morning, global attention turns to the Vatican as the funeral of Pope Francis is scheduled for Saturday. World leaders are preparing to attend the service while the College of Cardinals gather to begin the process of selecting a new pope following his passing at age 88. In a historic financial milestone, gold prices have soared to an all-time high, crossing the $3,500 mark for the first time ever. Back home, tragedy has sparked unity as students and Nigerian religious leaders, including Mike Okonkwo Oyo, Aritse Jaffor, and Sam Kasili rally to raise funds for the funeral of 88-year-old Nigerian driver fatally shot in the United States. On governance matters, Edo State Governor Okpebholo has suspended a traditional ruler over his alleged links to kidnapping activities. On a lighter note, music legend Ebenezer Obey has dispelled death rumor, reassuring fans that he is alive and well. And that's what we have on the Vanguard newspaper. Moving ahead to the Punch newspaper this morning, economic and security tensions dominate today's edition. A security expert has criticized the defense minister over growing insecurity nationwide. Meanwhile, a powerful clash between President Donald Trump and Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell is causing stock markets fluctuation and a weakening of the dollar. On the fuel front, marketers are reeling from financial losses to the NNPC slashes petrol prices to 888 naira per dollar following a major crude sale worth 336 billion naira to Dangote and other refineries. In international affairs, the US has recorded a surge in Nigerian asylum applications with over 22,000 filings, highlighting growing migration pressures. And in education, Harvard University has filed a lawsuit against Donald Trump challenging funding cuts allegedly targeting institutions perceived as liberal. That's what we have on the Punch newspaper. On the Nation newspaper this morning, politics is front and center. Social Democratic parties, Adewole Adebayo is taking a hard stance, accusing Atiku Abubakar and Nasiru El-Rufai for attempting to hijack the party for personal battles against President Bola Tinubu. President Tinubu, meanwhile, in a celebratory mood as he felicitates with the Emir of Ilorin on his 85th birthday. In a serious development, Governor Okpebholo has suspended the Agenebode monarch, citing concerns over kidnappings and killing in his domain. And also featured in the IMF's warning to countries with ballooning debt profile, urging urgent restructuring to avoid financial crisis. In Leadership newspaper this morning, it's days of landmark moment after 4 decades. Minna Airport has finally commenced commercial flight, a move hailed as a boost for regional connectivity and development. Following the death of Pope Francis, 138 cardinals are now set to elect a new pope, making a pivotal moment for the Catholic Church. In the rural circles, the Alaafin of Oyo's media aide is clarified that there is no supremacy battle involving the monarch, dispelling speculation. In sports, Jelena Ostapeko has turned Arena Sabalenka to win the Stuttgart Open, while the entertainment, Ed Sheeran gift footballer Declan Rice a signed guitar to commemorate his recent stunning free kicks. And that wraps up the news review for today. From politics to entertainment to international policies to economic development and touching human interest stories, today's headlines offer a sweeping view of the pressing issues shaping the world. Stay tuned with us for in-depth discussion by Ms. Damilola Babalola on the topic Youth Engagement in Nigerian Governance.
You are now listening to
Ombudsman Radio.
Good morning and welcome again to the discussion segment of the Breakfast Show. My name is Damilola Babalola, and this morning I would not be doing this alone. I have with me Mr. Samuel Taninowo and Luke. Welcome on the show. It's so good to have you. It's always a pleasure having you on the show, sir.
Thank you very much.
And Luke, welcome on the show this morning. So this morning we are going to be discussing about youth participation in governance, especially in Nigeria. Are youths actually really involved in governance in this country? First, I would like to ask, what do you think about youth participation in Nigerian governance?
Yeah, the youth participation in governance is a very nice concept. The question is, are the youth actually fully participating? The answer is no. It's obvious for everybody to see. The youth has the highest population ratio in Nigeria, almost 60%. And that is one of the best anywhere in the world. If you go to China, they either have the highest population. In fact, I've been to China several times, like almost 5 or 6 times. I've been to the banks. I see elderly men and women working as bank officials because most of you are engaged somewhere, But if you come to Nigeria, you will discover that we have the highest population ratio, yet not fully engaged. And that explains the reason for crime rates, the reason for all those social vices, because the energy of the user are channeled wrongly. And that's the reason why we are not fully optimized in terms of development, in terms of innovation, in terms of productivity, in terms of economic wherewithal. You see that Nigeria is nowhere to be found because the energy force to drive these things are channeled wrongly.
Well then, most of the youths that have their energy channeled to the wrong direction, would we say they are all interested in participating in the government? Interest is one thing, and then the opportunity to actually do what you're interested in is another thing. So do we say that all these youths that have their attention on the wrong path, do we say they are all interested in the governance?
I think in recent times there have been an increase in the interest of youths in politics. From the last general elections held in Nigeria, when we were able to see the uprising of the obedience movement. And to my own understanding and to everybody's understanding, we all know that the obedience movement was basically pushed by the Nigerian youths.
Sure.
Yeah. So in situations now whereby, should I say, their efforts were being dismayed by what the time election rigging and other vices here, there will be that might lead to youth apathy. So the youth might lose interest in coming election because they felt, okay, maybe after the struggle, the whole effort of making youth come to power with the present election. So I feel the government should do better in making the youth participate in election coming years.
Yeah, that's a nice observation from your end. But I think the youth of this generation, which they popularly refer as the Gen Z, their perception about politics is not yet robust enough.
I agree with that 100%.
Not yet robust enough. They are not ready to take up the challenge of driving the force politically and even economically. Because if you check the productive force of Nigeria, the population of youth is very low. So, and I think it's high time they pick up the challenge, the youth, myself included, I'm still a youth. It's high time we pick up this challenge of assuming the leadership role. And because this current generation of our leaders will soon fade out.
Sure.
And even though they've gotten it wrong ab initio, the youths can take up the challenge and correct it. The onus is on the youth. The future of Nigeria lies in the hands of the youth. Like we used to jokingly make this statement. They say youth are the leaders of tomorrow. And they told us when we were growing up, tomorrow will be better. Tomorrow will be better. So we grew up, we have seen that the tomorrow is not any better.
Yes,
so what do we need to do? We need to make our life better first.
Sure.
We need to impart on ourselves first so that we can impart on others. If you don't change yourself, you can't be a change
Sure.
maker.
Change you want to see
Yes.
begins with you.
Yeah.
Now, what challenges do you think Nigerian youths have been facing or are facing that is, distracting them from the governance sector?
Well, let me start with this. I think in 2018 there was an act, the Not Too Young to Run Act by the National Assembly. Yeah, so that alone should make more youth bring interest in politics. Yeah? But now it was reduced from, I think for presidents, was reduced from the age of 30 to 25, I think, or if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So I don't know, how can you expect a youth of 25 years old to purchase a presidential form of 45 million naira?
Wow.
Like, doesn't make any sense, I believe so. So for that, I would say the first hindrance for you to participate in politics is finance. Finance is a very big issue for you because you can't make a political position, a form to get a position like way higher than the income of the particular youth, of the youth in the organization, sorry.
And I think getting the form is even on a 50-50 because
Yes.
just one person is going to get the slip.
Yes.
So it's possible that out of 100 people that have gotten the form, it's like reality. Just one person
It's just
is
reality.
going
It's
to
not
get.
possible. You can't get more than
No,
two
I
candidates.
get
After the
it.
primaries, you can't get more than two candidates. Just one candidate from the primaries.
Wow.
So let me say, peradventure now you apply, you are able to get the form from borrow from friends and stuff. After everything, you are able to get the seats. Then
You'll be in debt.
Thank God for that your contribution from the not too young group.
yes,
Is the intention is to give the youth a kind of ample opportunity to participate in politics. But I think Nigeria needs to do more than that. From my own perspective, the youth are lost in the crowd.
Mm.
They are not relevant.
I'm not carried along.
They are not relevant. The youth, the voice of the youth, are the first time in the history of Nigeria that the youth will make statement was during that NSAS campaign.
Yes.
In the history of
2020.
Nigeria.
Sure.
Yes.
In the history of Nigeria, the youth have never been given a voice. And I think nobody will give them a voice until they decided to give themselves a voice.
Wow.
That's
How long
one.
will it take?
That's one. It borders on the youth reorientating themselves, re-equipping themselves, and preparing themselves to assume leadership position. Excuse me here. If you are not prepared to take responsibility, nobody will see you as responsible.
True.
Nobody. You understand? Look at what I was a bit impressed by what I saw yesterday during the fracas between the NAS political climate. Okay. There was two factions.
Yes.
So the other faction came to himself and said, no, we can't recognize it. And he stepped down and said, I'm ready to work with you. That is how it's supposed to be. And that has created that peace
Balance.
because
Yes.
there was tension everywhere.
Yes.
There was palpable fear everywhere that the youth academic community may be thrown into crisis. But thank be to God that the other faction came to his and said, no, we can't continue this way.
Yes.
And they did, and they are forging ahead. That is what is expected of the Nigerian youth. We should stop this bigots, religious divide, ethnic divide, and all sort of
Tribal,
ideology
yes.
that can divide the youth.
Mm.
Because if the youth becomes united, Nigeria will become better for it.
There's a lot we can achieve together
That's true.
in unity. Now, I want this to be my final question, but it's going to open us up to a lot of other issues. Social media now is like the real thing or the big thing in our generation today. Seeing that there's a lot of distractions on social media, do you think social media is a worthy tool to enhance youth participation in governance?
There's what we call instant globalism in mass media, mass communication. That is what the social media achieved. Social media is not a wrong thing. It's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
So, and anything can be used wrongly, provided the user has a wrong impression.
Start
You
with the
understand?
impression.
So what we need to do is for the parents to educate their children as they are growing up. Don't use this instrument negatively. There is nothing on earth that cannot be used negatively.
Sure.
So if you say we should regulate social media, I think that's not going to make sense. What will make sense to regulate the users. Let the users be decorum. Bring in sense of decorum in whatever you are doing in the social media. Stop propagating lies. Stop, all forms of media anti-media vices on social media. Do you get? So that the social media atmosphere in Nigeria can be cleansed, sanitized, and healthy for Nigerian populace. That is my own solution.
Yeah, I think I came into your question as well. You're talking about regulating it from the household, from the parents. Yeah.
Yes.
It doesn't need to go down deep to the peer group from churches, school. It needs to be this sensitization about the use of social media kind of apps, because you can't really control the child and everything it does.
You
on
can't.
its own, yeah.
You can't.
So, and it's very easy to spread rumors on social media. So the same social media can also be used to spread good news too.
Yeah.
So it's best to just know the right thing and do the right thing with it.
Now, we've been talking about the youths giving themselves a better orientation and trying to get interested and get involved. Now, we can't deny the fact that there's a handful of youths in Nigerian government like actively involved now. Now, for those that are not involved yet, if they eventually get involved, how can their participation be sustained over time?
Well, thanks for that question. I think it's a very good question. I just do hope that youths will listen to this conversation. Basically speaking, it boils down on preparation. Get yourself equipped, get yourself informed, get yourself educated, get yourself all the necessary orientation that you need to succeed as a youngster. Because the demand on youth involvement or youth leadership in this country is enormous.
It's very enormous.
So if you are not well prepared, there's this idea that if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail.
Yeah, that's true.
So the youth should get ready, get equipped, and be ready to be responsible. Do you get? If we are ready to take up responsibility, I bet you even the current leadership will shimmer, we give space. They will. I appreciate the fact that even the leadership of this country, they are getting to know that yes, the youth must be given the space.
Yes.
And I want to appeal to Nigerian leaders to give more space. We have gotten few now.
Yes.
We should get more, because if we get more, and everybody have this sense of responsibility, and see it as our government, we will discover that more youths will be encouraged to do more. And when the youth are involved, take for instance the guys securing the company that is securing the pipeline,
Yes.
they are youngsters,
Yes.
they are young chaps. Now they will be forced to drop crime
Yeah.
and do the right.
Yes.
Because when they know this is our government, this is our responsibility, nobody will ready to sabotage themselves. You can't sabotage yourself.
Yes,
Sure.
that's true.
Do you get? So if the youth are more youth are involved, more informed youth are involved in governance, I think Nigeria will become better for youth.
That's a really good one.
Yeah. One thing is, I think the youth already been involved in politics. If you notice, most of our politicians, most of the top government officials, they are essays, peers, and media are youths.
A young
They are young people, they are youths. Yeah. So I think for a youth that wants to really involve in politics, that wants to get really involved in politics, if you're working with your like a politician, like a governor or stuff, and you are
Learn.
like, so you need to learn
Yeah.
into it, learn into the job, and with time, consistently, you get it and come out.
Can I also chip in something? Please? I think there's need for leadership school.
I think they are.
Yeah, we need more. Because let me take China for instance. They have a community that is dedicated for leadership. They start grooming you from childhood
Wow.
till you assume. That is where they pick their leaders from. They have a pool where children are being trained on leadership role. That's where they go to school there, they are trained there, they are indoctrinated and inculcated with leadership skills. So they will pick the best among them to occupy leadership position. But they are already being groomed from childhood. Even the Bible tells us, train up a child the way he should go. When they grow, he will depart from it. So we need training and retraining, and leadership equipment skills. Leadership training centers. We need more leadership training centers in Nigeria for you to acquire basic and requisite knowledge on leadership. And once that is done, you will see that our society will become better.
Well, speaking of leadership, I want to commend some of our private schools, but I think this should be incorporated in our government schools too. That's very important.
Yes.
I mean, most of our private schools now, they don't really focus only on the educational part. They now they've started mentorship, they started morals, skills training, etiquette, and all of that, and they start teaching these children from cradle, like you mentioned. So I think that's a really good thing that should be incorporated in our government schools. This has been a very, very beautiful conversation. And then youths watching me, I would really love for you to give yourself to learning. Learn, unlearn, relearn. Very important. Very important. And with our collective efforts, this country is going to be a very, very better place for us all. Thank you so much, sir, for being on the show. Thank you, Luke, for being on the show. I had a really amazing time. And there you have it. That is the discussion session of the breakfast show for today. I'm sure you learned 1 to 100 from us today. Do not forget, keep following us on all our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok at Ombudsman Radio Nigeria. And you can reach us on WhatsApp at 070-7337-4504. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Luke. Thank you, Mr. Samuel.
Thank you.
I am Damilola Babalola. Do not go anywhere. This is the Ombudsman Radio. Bye for now.